Hi everyone. In the past video, I got cut off in the end because it was about happiness where God cut me off because that is primarily the purpose most of us are seeking when we are leading a life. Happiness in some form, right? So, if a person is born poor, and saw a lot of improvised circumstances in their life, or if they weren't born poor but they saw a lot of financial ups and downs in their life because of some natural reason or human created reason, many of us start thinking that only earning is the solution to our life problems. And this is the paradigm that has been existing for centuries on earth, where most of us have given importance to earning money as the primary goal in life. Most of us are seeking education, seeking knowledge, getting jobs so that we can be financially independent in life. And that necessarily isn't really a bad goal, but that is only the basic goal of life when you are in the beginning stages of life. This is where many of us are currently actually having midlife crisis in our life. Even when we may not be ultra rich, even when we may not be even moderately rich, we can have this health crisis related to spiritual health crisis, emotional health crisis, if after earning money we don't understand what we should do next in life, because that is one aspect of living that is currently lost. That is one aspect of living that is also causing sometimes children to be raised by financially independent, moderate to high income parents, but those children raised in such families with some good abundance of financial wealth are also feeling very lost in their lives because we don't have the key elements of happiness present in our life, key elements of feeling joyful in our life, which doesn't come actually from money but comes from social relationships, balance give and take in our life, balance of understanding the value of many human beings that we meet and interact with in our life, how we interact with them in our life, what are our emotional, spiritual thought processes, and other elements of living that we might have forgotten in just the pursuit of wealth and financial independence, which is what makes modern marriages so difficult when both parents, after having come from families which were poor in some ways, where the man may have been the breadwinner, their grandparents might have been the breadwinners, but they didn't allow the women the flexibility to lead certain aspects of living that women are supposed to lead when a traditional marriage is happening. So, for example, in parts of the world where traditional marriages still exist, where I have either seen their videos online or I have gone and lived in a conservative society like Mormon culture in Utah, where I have observed some of the things related to conservative life in India as well. What I understood from the conservative lifestyles of normal patriarchal society that is in existence currently on earth is that if a person has to have a happy married life, if a person wants to have a happy family life, and in that family life, if the spouses have set up this role that the husband should take care of most of the financial responsibilities and the wife should take care of most of the home responsibilities, then the responsibilities of home care, while it falls on the woman, she has to still have a say on where should the finances go with home care also. Like, for example, if a man expects a home to look very beautiful, neat and clean and tidy, and wants to have a peaceful life at home after he comes back from a busy day at work. That is what majority of men dream about when they marry someone. And many of those men who grew up in families where they didn't get that from their family, that's why in modern culture also end up deciding, maybe I don't want that life if I'm not getting it from a woman who is cranky at me, who's not bringing peace, who's not bringing neat and tidiness and order inside our homes. And then they either end up just dating women serially, or forget about dating and just get immersed in their work life and forget about dating anyone because they think too much drama is happening in their social relationships with women. And all these are the modern marital or marriage related problems which cause men to not marry, or even cause women to not marry, if they are expecting that their spouse can get involved in some home care, healthcare activities, especially if women are financially working and financially independent. Now, how do we bridge this gap of expectation of what a modern woman wants and what a modern man wants, as well as what needs to be preserved from what we learned from our parents' generation, grandparents' generation, and things in the past? This is where society is festering currently. This is where there is a lot of deafening silence in relationships, where human beings are earning a lot, learning a lot, but also not understanding where to use their earnings in the right way, where to use their learnings in the right way, which learnings and wisdom is needed for the future generation, which knowledge and wisdom needs to break down for a healthy society or a healthy lifestyle in any individual's life, any family's life, any society's life, any community's life, any religion's teachings as well. For example, in the time when certain religions taught that it is okay for a man to have 3 wives, in those times when those teachings were taught, there were two elements that could have arisen for that thing to happen. One is when war times happen, and men are the ones who are usually going to wars. What happens after majority of the men have gone to war is the percentage and balance of men on earth has now reduced. Now, in those circumstances, when the percentage of men is less than the percentage of women on earth, and there are also a society was created where women are financially dependent on men. In those centuries, when men came up with this rule that they can have 2, 3 wives, for whatever reason, there was a practical need for the man to have 2, 3 wives. One practical need could be because the percentage of men is less. So, if after a war in a particular locality of 1,000 people, there are only 300 men and there are 700 women and children dependents that need a man to take care of them, but the 300 men are not enough to take care of every woman and child that is there in the society. They have to come up with paradigms to marry more women, adopt more children, right? And that's how the system of men marrying more women came up. But in a society when the number of men is high and higher in number than the number of women, which is currently the global problem in many conservative societies and cultures, that the percentage of men being born are higher and percentage of women being born in those cultures might be lower, which is where again some religions came up with the principle that they will get women from other society, convert them into their religion, and that practice has also been allowed. But even after that, if women are not getting the right respect in a marriage, right respect in a religion, right respect in a communal setting, right respect freedom, independence, and agency to formulate the right lifestyle necessary for the next generation to thrive, then how much ever men create a paradigm based on their religious teachings or personal, social, cultural motivations, those systems eventually will fracture and start breaking down because it is not naturally aligned with life. Because how much ever patriarchy wants to hold on to patriarchy currently and have men want this independence of financial independence and the role of being the primary breadwinner for the family, right now in current history, because women have almost similar education as men, and also because a percentage of women have learned how to become independently sustaining in society via financial means and education, it is necessary now for some of the men who are having a hard time finding the right wife to understand why they are not finding the right wife. It is high time for both men and women to understand who is the right spouse for them, given how society has nurtured and developed them into becoming a certain personality type. Because if you are a man who's having a hard time sharing your wealth and property with your women, those kind of men can't anymore marry any woman who doesn't have their own financial independence. Because if you don't have inside of you the capacity and understanding to know how a man has to become a provider, be it according to religious teachings, be it according to God's principles, be it according to how biologically a man and woman was created to be it according to the societal needs of the place in which you live, if majority of men in a particular area of society are forgetting how to share what they are earning with the women in their life, either those men will get drawn towards going into warlike activities, or they will go into addiction like paradigms, or which could be even work addiction, because then they won't understand how to become fair to the women in their lives, and that's why they will go into workaholism related activities. Or they will have, if they are very rich men, they will also have lots of affairs and not value women in that way. But in every step of decision that they take where they are not valuing women, they are just creating a path leading towards unhappiness. Now the same thing is true. That's why when men of middle class or poor class are aspiring to want the same money that they see a famous person earn in their life, these men need to understand and discern, is that the life you really want? Do you really want a life where you're rich enough to pursue multiple relationships, sleep with different women, or become rich enough simply because you love to earn money and love to make money and grow money? Is there any purpose to the money you earn, the money you grow, or the number of women you sleep, if all the reason why you're doing it stems from only the need of envy that was generated inside of you when you saw someone being more successful, having a more beautiful wife, having successful multiple relationships or affairs, having a lot of money, having a lot of properties, having a lot of car, right? Because if everything inside of you is stemming from just envy, and this is true of women too. If a woman is gaining her financial independence because she wants to buy more jewelry, buy more property, buy more clothes, buy more shoes, buy more fashion accessories to look beautiful, buy more makeup to look beautiful, if that is all the purpose that ends up happening in a man or woman's life, where seeing what you see on media or seeing how you perceive others to be having a beautiful life, you decide this is the life worth envying and life worth holding. Eventually your life will crash and burn because you haven't added anything in the spiritual sense, emotional sense, basic principle of humanity sense in your life and lifestyle. Which is what happened to me, but not because I realized. For me there was a slight difference in the sense that I did pursue a life of materialism where I was only buying things for myself and very rarely buying things for others. But the reason why that happened to me was because I didn't have men in my life who appreciated if I presented them with anything that I thought was valuable to them. If I gave them even free advice when I didn't have any money and I wasn't earning, if those men and women in my life don't value the free advice or wisdom that I might possess, then also it is a imbalance in give and take paradigm of living. So does it make sense? If we are only taking, or if we are giving something that is of value to someone but giving it to a person who doesn't value it, both of it violates God's conditions of existence on earth. How does it violate it? It may sound very incomprehensible to people, but it violates it in many ways. If we look only at, say, planetary life forms on earth, plants and trees are rooted in a particular area of the world where they grow. So when you grow a plant or a tree, and that tree might have been grown by God, or some human might have planted something. If whatever was growing in a particular area, say sandalwood was growing in a particular area, and the humans in that area learned that the smell of sandalwood is so ethereal, so beautiful. If we burn sandalwood, it gives such a beautiful smell that it is great for making incense sticks, soaps, and other perfumes. Now, you have found a tree which gives you a beautiful smell, but that essence of sandalwood that some human being might have found thousands of years back, if that essence of that sandalwood tree, the things needed to make that sandalwood a beautiful smelling tree, gets absent over time of evolution and humans forget why sandalwood gives that beautiful essence, the properties of sandalwood will start deteriorating. That is essentially what is happening in our marriages too. If what makes marriages beautiful, what makes family life a beautiful essence of human existence, if that conditions needed for it to be that beautiful are absent, how can you get the life that you are seeking? If a man doesn't provide in a way where modern men has to provide to a woman, how can you have a happy, clean life? You can't have a wife who is happy and joyful and internally balanced and sane and healthy. If, say, you are a man, if you're a traditional man, you want a woman to be financially dependent on you and also stroke your ego and make you feel like the most blessed person on earth, will a woman who looks like a apsara or a vision of goddess, someone who looks like a supermodel, bring you the happiness in real life? Or will she only bring you that happiness in the momentary happiness a man gains when he sees another man being envious of a man holding a beautiful wife, right? If that woman whom you married simply has beauty in her, doesn't have any other quality in her, no matter how beautiful she looks, no matter how many men she can make a man feel envious, it will only be a fleeting blessing of her outer beauty. Because if she didn't learn how to be a loyal wife, or how not to flirt, or how to take care of the kids these people want to produce as a married couple, or she doesn't have the emotional depth to feel emotionally connected to her spouse in the way that the spouse wants. All of these areas if they are missing, or some of these areas if they are missing, or if she doesn't know how to manage a beautiful home life, and the man expects the woman to have that quality, her outer beauty will not help in any of these qualities. On the other hand, if there's a woman who has all the qualities that the man seeks, which involves how to keep a house clean, how to manage the household, how to be emotionally connected to the man, how to please the man in a way he wants to be pleased, everything is present in her, but she looks very ugly. 90% of the men, 99% of the men will not even fall for that woman because she is not attracting his attention. But in both these women's journeys, the one who is extremely beautiful and the one who is maybe extremely ugly, lies the key to what will bring actually happiness to both of them. The one who is extremely beautiful has to discern which man to marry, who will be okay if she doesn't do any house care, home care. She has to marry someone rich so that she can hire someone to take care of the household, instead of being the woman who's taking care of the household because she hasn't learned the skills to know how to run a household. Whereas the woman who knows how to run a household has to understand that she has to marry a man who can see her skills beyond her outside beauty. And she is probably someone who is not that beautiful in outward looks, because she's meant to find that spouse who is not seeking just outward beauty in his life. If a man is only seeking outward beauty in his life, that person will not get attracted, which is her blessing actually. While she might feel sad and lonely for many years of her life when her beautiful friends are getting married, when her qualified friends are getting married, or less qualified than her friends are getting married, if she truly understands her sole purpose for being a particular kind of woman who doesn't have outward beauty but has other skills, or if she in the meantime, even if she didn't have any good skills when she was young, starts developing her skills as she ages, the outward beauty will not matter eventually. Or even if it is mattering to 99% of the men, after all, in order for her to have a good, beautiful life, her inner and outer beauty both should matter only to one man. Same way with a man. It doesn't matter if a man earns a lot of money or earns a lot less money. How a man shows up in the relationship with the woman he marries, and how even before marrying someone he discerns who is the right person to fit into his family structure, who is the right person to fit into his sole purpose. The man who discerns this the best and is able to choose a partner based on his needs and God's purpose based needs for him, that man will be the happiest. And it wouldn't matter if he has a lot of money, lot less money. What would matter more is, has he chosen the right partner based on his current wealth status. And because anyone who has a lot of money also can lose money eventually after some decades, anyone who has lot less money also can come up in life and earn a lot of money in some decades. But the important factor of making anyone have a good balanced life is, are the two partners in the relationship able to work with the ebbs and flows of their life. When you have a lot of abundance, are you able to be abundant in the true spirit God wants you to be abundant? And when you have lot less abundance, are you able to work with the true spirit in which you have to work when you have lot less abundance? And in abundance also, there are multiple levels. Most of us are stuck in thinking that abundance is about financial abundance, about having monetary possession, about having materialistic goods in our life. But true abundance actually isn't just about material goods. If you have material goods, well and good. But after you have those material goods, what did you do with your material possessions, material wealth, also matters eventually to God. And that's where, if someone is super rich, either God will make them spend via addictions, or God will make them spend via futile pursuits, or these are the people who are unawakened. But if you have awakened to the purpose of being a rich person, then you will start creating meaningful jobs for the people who work for you, giving them a living wage salary, so that all the wealth that you have generated gets evenly distributed, equitably distributed in the right way. Because many people start thinking, if I increase their salary or give them too much of like, don't give them, some people have all these negative thoughts about giving too much higher salary to their workers, thinking that their workers will leave even after a high salary. So let them leave. The one who is only sticking with you because of a salary is not the right worker, right? Or the one who leaves after getting a high salary is also possibly not the right worker, because right motivation always is needed for people to coexist together, work together, function together in all aspects of life, be it family life, be it social life, be it professional life. So those people who are in upper tiers of society, who are paying the salary of many people when they are working in a particular organization, if they don't wake up to the right purpose behind any system they are creating for salary giving, any system they are creating for creating abundance in their own life or another person's life, when you are creating it for yourself and others, that is when you are aligned with God's purpose. When you are only creating abundance for simply yourself, be it in the personal life front, as a moderate income person, poor person, rich person, if you're only existing for self, then you're not aligned with God, because no creature on earth exists simply for itself. A tree doesn't simply produce oxygen and fruits and vegetables and leaves for itself. A tree produces leaves. The leaves that will shed from the tree also eventually goes down and flies away through the wind to go and fertilize the soil of the area in which the leaves can fly towards. So even the leaf has a purpose of fertilizing soil. The leaf will fertilize the soil, not just to grow the one tree that grew there, but the leaf's purpose is to fertilize the soil for the bugs that might be living in the soil, to fertilize the soil for other bacteria that might be there in the soil, to give nutrition to other trees also that might be existing in that same area. That's why not a single thing about a tree which is even stationary in one fixed place on earth also has multiple purposes. Likewise, the same tree can give flowers which, if a bee comes and gets the pollen and other things from the flowers that bee needs to produce its honey, that bee will now go away thousands of miles possibly to go and produce honey in some other place. That honey then can be extracted by humans to go and feed someone else another thousands of miles away. So whatever a tree produced doesn't just help the tree in the area in which the tree is living. It has a far expansive outreach, because the tree's purpose is to give certain things to humanity, birds, animals, insects. And if that tree's purpose is cut off when human beings are just taking things from the tree and not sharing it with other flora and fauna of the earth, then humans are forgetting the basic principle again of living and existence with a tree. And while the humans can keep taking and taking from a tree and plant that they cultivate, if they haven't given back what the tree's purpose is back to the tree, then the tree dies, the plants die. That's why farming starts failing in certain areas, when human beings haven't given back to the land and the tree what they were supposed to give it back. They are supposed to give back a tree. A tree is happier and happiest actually when there are other creatures around the tree to help give the tree also what the tree needs. Because while the tree is feeding, say when it is a fruit giving tree, it's feeding a bird and a rodent and an insect and a human. It is necessary not just for the human to exist, the bird, insect and rodent are also supposed to exist with that tree. Because the bird, insect, rodent has some animal, has some purpose when around that tree, which if that purpose doesn't get fulfilled, the tree's life becomes incomplete. Same way with a man. A man, he can go and get a fruit from a tree and eat for himself and be happy all his life thinking, oh, I'm getting this fruit, I'll keep eating the fruit. Another man who's a woodcutter goes and cuts down sandalwood trees. I'm getting money for this sandalwood, so I will keep cutting down trees. But in both these cases, if the man doesn't go and plant additional sandalwood trees, eventually the sandalwood that God had placed in his life will go away. If he doesn't value the sandalwood tree, if he doesn't bless the universe for the sandalwood that is bringing him the money, he is violating something. Second thing, if he is only earning money for himself, doesn't share the wealth with his family, even if he is not married, he has to still share the wealth with someone. If he is a man without family, he has to share it with strangers. If he is a man with family, he has to share something related to the abundance with the world. Now, for each individual, what an individual has to share while he is getting something from the universe is individual specific. That is where each individual is different. Each individual's lifestyle is different. Each individual's life purpose is different. And the only way a person gets to understand this, that they have a different purpose than a different human being they are living with, is when they understand self, and also when they connect to God and ask God that after understanding self, if I'm not still doing the right thing, what is the way in which should I align my life so that I am keeping the natural balanced nature alive within myself as well as around myself, with the human beings, planets, planetary creatures, society that I am existing or coexisting with. And the men, for some men the answer might be how to become a better family man. For some men it could be how to become a better friend. For some it could be how to become a better father. Some it could be how to become a better grandfather. Some man it could be how to become a better son. Some it could be, if they don't have parents, still how to become a better son to society and God. For some it could be how to disperse the information when, say, they have reached 70-80 years of age and they are lonely, they don't have any family, and but they have a lot of wealth of knowledge that they have gained in those 70-80 years of their life, and whatever wealth they have, they know they can sustain themselves for another 30-40 years. Now, considering, say, he realizes that this 30-40 years of wealth that he has is enough for him to have a beautiful life, he doesn't need to earn any more money. But can a man still sit idle after retirement? No. Even there, if he is married, he has some purpose with his wife. If he is unmarried, he has some purpose with society then. Or if he is unmarried, he may have purpose with God. Now, this is where everyone has to realize when they are waking up, what is it they are waking up to, that they need to shift and change in order to again realign with the path of God until they meet their maker. Because if someone is 70-80 years old, they can realize I have only 2-3 years more to live. They can freely give away all the money that they have earned to someone, right? They can do that. Or if they don't realize they're going to die and they might have still another 30-40-50 years to live, Yes, they may become ungenerous in spending the money thinking I am retired now, so I don't want to spend any money. But no one is telling a 70, 80-year-old that you need to spend money. Why don't you spend the wisdom that you have earned in those 70, 80 years? If you have kids and grandkids who want your valuable education, you can provide it to your kids and grandkids. But if you don't have kids and grandkids, you can still provide what you had learned as a kid to someone else's kid and grandkid. You can become their teacher, you can become a social worker, you can do anything that aligns with you, resonates with you, speaks to you. It speaks to you at an internal soul core level of your human existence, not at the base level of your human existence, but the inner soul energy, spirit energy that you can only derive when you're connecting with God, or connecting with some meaningful purpose in life. If you don't believe in God, it's totally up to you not believe in God, but the spiritual essence of living, if you forget the spiritual essence of what makes a good balanced life, if you forget, that is when most of us humans become unhappy. Same thing with a woman. If a woman is divorced, say after 30, 40 years of marriage, their kids have grown up, they don't know what they should do when they have hit 60 years of age, 70 years of age, or they're feeling devalued now because their kids are married and living somewhere else, and they might still be married, but their spouse is just doing their boys' activities in retirement instead of focusing on a married life. So then women are feeling disenchanted, women are wanting to do something for other women or societal good. So they can try to start forming social circles where they can do something fun for each other, something meaningful for society. But again, fun has also stopped making sense for many humans when there is some other purpose for them. Those who are meant to be entertainers, they can continue having fun in life, or those whose life purpose is to entertain people via their magic, charm, or some other thing. For them, fun should be an important element of their life when they are even elderly or middle aged. But for those middle aged and elderly people who want something deeper than fun, something not just fun but something purposeful, and they are feeling lost or they don't align with what they are seeing in their social circle, then the next question they should ask universe and God is, what is it, what kind of people should they align with next, what kind of people should they work with next or create a social circle with next, to bring out the best in them, to bring out the best in their life. And for some couples, when they have reached middle age or retirement and their marriages seem to be fracturing or breaking down, this is when, if they can sit together with each other and with a God, or sit together with each other and with a counselor, or sit together and start communicating at a deeper level with each other and their children and their friendship or social circle, that is only when they will be able to figure out what is it that is amiss in their life, what is it that needs changing in their life, what it is that they can jointly work with their family and friends to change and shift in their life, to bring back the joy that they might feel is lost when they have reached their middle age or old age. Because all joy, while religious teachings and principles say lies within us, all joy is not just about us. If it was about us, majority of the human beings who are financially independent, who have no financial responsibilities, who have the means to buy whatever they want, to have a normal life, would have been happy. If I am a average income earning person or a high income earning person, and I can provide for myself many things of life that used to bring me joy when I was a kid, that used to bring me joy when I was a 20-30 year old. If I love jewelry, I can go and buy jewelry. If I love a car, I can go and buy a car. If I love earning money, I can earn money. But there is no purpose behind that if I don't have kids, or there's no purpose behind that because my kids have grown up and they are themselves financially independent. Then a new purpose has to start, a new purpose has to begin, where we have to look. If you have had a very happy family life with your family for 30-40 years, then you have to look towards creating a happy life for people outside of your family circle. If you had only a happy family life of 2 or 3 people, then now is your chance to expand it to 4 or 5 people within your family unit or friendship circle. If you didn't have any happy family life at all for 40 years of your life, and for 40-50 years you decided I'm better being alone all my life, while that might have worked for you for 40-50 years of your life, most human beings, 99% of the human beings on earth, are not created to be loners. Everyone needs some companionship in some form, either in the form of humans, majorly in the form of humans, but also in the form of animals and birds. Now, if you cut down nature, if you cut away all ties with nature and humans and animals and birds and other planetary creatures, that's when heightened anxiety or heightened depression or other mental health issues crop up in those human beings' life, because they didn't find the right ways to align their thoughts into understanding why every human being they interact with is important for them. Every negative as well as positive interaction they had with their parents, family, friends, each had a purpose, each serves a purpose in developing them into becoming more interconnected with the right humanity. Say you're having a negative experience all the time with your parents, and you realize that's because principally how your parents behave is not the same as how you want to behave in life. Then there are 3 lessons you have to learn. First, you have to learn that which your parent says that doesn't align with your soul, and then pursue that which doesn't align with your soul. But you also have to learn eventually the value and gratitude of what you did end up learning from your parents. And finally, you have to have the neutrality to also learn from those same parents how to work with those who differ in opinion from you, right? But if we don't learn this third thing, what happens is many people cut off the ties to their toxic parents. Or same thing can happen with the spouses then. That if you had toxic parents, you will attract toxic spouses too. But what do you mean by toxicity? What you mean by toxicity may be the opposite of what another person means by toxicity. For someone, a spouse who shouts in anger could be toxicity, while for someone else, a spouse who doesn't express any authentic emotion could be toxicity. So, depending on your personality type, if you're okay with someone shouting at you in anger and you can work with the anger through the anger with that spouse, that is not a toxic relationship for you. Whereas for a personality type who is used to only having someone explain to them gently and calmly what is wrong instead of using anger, for that personality type, a spouse who is like that would be more beneficial. Now, if you didn't understand at the core level and just got married to someone based on attraction or money or material power or something, and after 10 years of life or 5 years of life with them, you're realizing you're very badly mismatched and you're not able to find the middle zone with them of coexistence, then isn't it better to have divorces, get away from that marriage, realize what kind of personality type you are, what kind of personality type you will be better suited to grow with in life? Or if you don't want divorce because of social shame, then do you not have to change certain paradigms about yourself in order to fit in better with the spouse you have? And also pray and have faith that the spouse you have will also slowly shift to understanding your value in their life as well. Because This is how life works. If you are stuck in a marriage that you can't get out of, you have to understand how to work with each other and forgive certain things about each other. But if you have the choice and luxury and maybe even the purpose of deciding who you should marry, or understanding yourself well enough to know that whoever you married is not the right personality for you for some reason or the other, you have to take the steps to break away from those relationships, in order that after you have broken away, after you have let go of the relationships that bring you pain, that bring you heartbreak, that bring you toxicities that you don't want aligned in your life or life purpose, if you don't break away from a former relationship that brought you all these heartbreak, suffering, injustice, abuse, or trauma in your life, if you don't break away from them, how will you create the space in your life to join with those people who are more aligned with you, right? That's why sometimes God brings us suffering, brings us pain, brings us trauma in relationships, be it in a bad marriage experience, be it in a bad past relationship experience, be it in multiple past marriages or past relationship experience. From each of those experiences, if the only thing you learn is you don't want relationships, only 1% of the population needs to learn that. Those who truly are the loners in life. But the rest of the population who aren't loners, they are all supposed to learn from a negative past traumatic relationship or traumatic past experience with someone, what is aligned with their soul purpose, what is aligned with their life purpose, which kind of partnership they should allow to thrive in their life, which kind of partnerships they have allowed to thrive that they shouldn't allow to thrive, which kind of your own personality traits can you change and adapt to become a softer version of society, or more God aligned version in society, or more spirit aligned version in society. Because anytime any relationship fails down, or we had traumas from broken relationships, both people were involved in creating that trauma. It's just that sometimes we don't understand how we create our own traumas. For example, if I will post about traumas on relationships in my next post, but the reason why these three videos I made involved about both personal self-care related topic, also what it means to be abundant, also what it means to be spiritually aligned to God ways or some religious principles, and what it means to have good social and communal health, is because each of these factors determines a human being's overall 360 degree of life experience and overall quality of experience that determines and shapes the reality that will bring joy and bliss and happiness and contentment in our life. And joy and bliss and happiness and contentment, for most modern people, we have been stuck in thinking that it is in the material goods that we gain or the educational wisdom that we gain. But material goods and educational wisdom are only the beginning stages. After material goods and educational wisdom, you also have to share it, you also have to care for others, you also have to think beyond your own self, you also and it is a step-by-step thing. When we don't have anything related to materialism or abundance or wisdom, we seek that. But once you've gained materialism, wisdom, a good family life, a good partnership, then your next step is to have a good family life with your children and grandchildren. Once you've developed that, then, or while you're developing that, you also start developing the social circle that should be aligning with your soul purposes, life purposes. Once you have also developed that, and you've reached a particular age where you've developed enough material wisdom, material wealth, material possessions, or the family life that you had aspired towards, then the next circle of things that starts should start happening is to think about the whole communal level lifestyle that needs to come up in society in the generation in which you are existing. And not everyone has to do that, but it depends on which level of life you are stuck at, which level of life you realize you have woken to that needs changing. And once you realize that there's something in this level of life that I want to change, first you change it within yourself, then you have to change it with the people around you if they are amenable to changing it with you. But if those people are not amenable to changing it with you, you have to find people outside of your family, social circle, work circle, to find the right people aligned with you, with the sole purpose you have awoken to, so that you can work globally with them to do something. This is the age of media, because via media we can connect with so many people. I'm writing and I've written on these topics in my Facebook page and my LinkedIn page and also my Instagram page, but I am also now posting videos on it because different people learn from different ways of learning. Some learn from short messages, some learn from large discussions, some learn from writing, and some learn from hearing. So for those who learn from hearing, I wish to reach to those audiences, and I hope these 3 videos were meaningful and informative for you. If you have any questions on any of these topics or would want me to discuss a little bit more about these topics, please drop a comment and a like. Thank you.